Hello everybody, it is a great pleasure to address you here at the Asia Matters China-Ireland Business Summit 2020. I would like to congratulate Martin Murray and his team and Alan Jukes, the chairman, for putting together this very valuable summit. We here in China have continued to work throughout the crisis in support of Irish citizens and Irish businesses. The embassy in Beijing, the consulates in Shanghai and Hong Kong, the estate agencies in China have all continued to work under difficult conditions. Here in China, of course, we were very much the canary in the mine for the virus. The virus gained a deep hold on the province of Hubei in late January, and the government responded by locking down the entire province, and in particular its capital Wuhan was subject to a 77-day lockdown. This posed immediate challenges for the embassy and the consulates in that we had to provide consular assistance to many Irish citizens in Hubei and managed indeed to evacuate 12 Irish citizens and their families from Hubei, either to Dublin with the help of the British authorities, for whom we're very grateful, or to Beijing, with the help of the Chinese Ministry for Foreign Affairs and the local Foreign Affairs offices. In addition, we had to keep the Irish community informed on a never-changing patchwork quilt of restrictions on travel. We had to update our travel advice on a very regular basis, and of course we had to keep in touch as best we could in a situation where travel was greatly restricted in China with the broader Irish business and a community of people, teachers and the like living in China. Once the virus came under control in China, of course, it had begun to accelerate very rapidly worldwide, and we have now entered a starkly different economic environment which will present us with unprecedented challenges. While I am confident that China has been broadly successful in bringing the COVID-19 virus largely under control, the unabated spread of the virus across many countries, including indeed Ireland, where we now at least are beginning to bring it under control, has yet to play out, and none of us can be sure how the global economy will be ultimately affected. Obviously, as an open market economy, Ireland will be most closely examining how the COVID-19 pandemic affects international trading conditions. Despite the pandemic, however, Ireland and China have witnessed very strong trade figures so far in 2020, with Irish exports of goods to China reaching €5.7 billion during the period January to June, representing a 39% increase year on year for the same period. Chinese exports to Ireland have also grown in the same period. One particular form, of course, of Chinese exports that the embassy was very heavily involved with from March on was the whole issue of the procurement of personal protective equipment. Working very closely with the IDA, with Aer Lingus, with the Departments of Transport and Foreign Affairs in Dublin and the Health and Services Executive in the Department of Health in Dublin, we put together a Team Ireland effort which supported Aer Lingus's wonderful task of bringing 259 flights with 80 million pieces of PPE to Ireland, often as many as 5 flights a day. In addition, we supported a number of other carriers and businesses in bringing ventilators and protective equipment to Ireland, and we are very proud of that achievement, and indeed we are very grateful to the pilots in Aer Lingus, to the hard-working people in the IDA who built the contacts with the China Resources Group, and to everybody else involved in making sure that this was a seamless operation. Ireland's main good exports, of course, include pharmaceutical, medical devices, ICT equipment and software to China, and there is, of course, a growing demand for many of these as a result of the virus. While these sectors have seen contraction in demand and supply chain disruption, it is also important to notice that they are likely to be resilient. The agri sector may also experience similar issues, but again should prove to be resilient. The one glitch in the agricultural sector, of course, has been due to an atypical BSE case. Beef exports to China have been suspended, and the Embassy and the Department of Agriculture are working very hard to try and get these exports resumed as quickly as possible. We have, of course, strengths that the Chinese economy needs, and I think once the economy begins to recover, China will continue to be a major partner for Ireland going forward. That Chinese economy, of course, suffered a very severe recession in the first quarter of the year, but now is beginning to come back very strongly. China has braved the major supply shock that closed down the majority of Chinese state-owned industry and SMEs and small business sectors for the first quarter of 2020. And now we're beginning to see China coming back following a record 6.8% contraction in quarter one. Chinese economy recorded a 3.2% growth in GDP in quarter two, with both industrial production and construction activity showing strong growth in recent months. The Chinese National Bureau of Statistics data for August also show much improved activity in the retail sector, with the August results marking the first month since December 2019 that retail sales have not fallen in China. However, the serious spread of the virus and the economic damage it is doing in the world economy is also likely to impact on China's export performance. Given the size and influence of China as an economic power in the world, I think it is important that the country continues to open up its economy across the range of sectors. This will help to strengthen and improve the sustainability of the multilateral rules-based trading system, a system that both China and Ireland support. In that context, we had an EU-China virtual summit on Monday, the 14th of September, which replaced the planned Leipzig summit, where the 27 member states were to meet President Xi Jinping. And at that summit, it was agreed that work on the comprehensive agreement on investment between the EU and China would be accelerated and deepened with a view, if possible, to concluding that agreement by the end of the year. Also, at that summit, or in parallel with it, the Geographical Indicators Agreement on agricultural products was signed here in Beijing, and we are hoping that it will come into effect by the end of the year. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has recently referred to the fact that in the face of the current global economic downturn, China will not shut its door but will instead open it wider to the outside world. This attitude will undoubtedly have a positive outcome for China and the world. As we strive to combat this unprecedented challenge to the global economy, increased opening up and indeed the wider opening of doors is the way forward for us to move successfully into a post-COVID-19 environment and work together towards the global economic recovery. The deepening of Ireland-China trade relations will be very much aligned with this attitude, continued opening up of economies and increased cooperation. Looking forward, it is important to note that we do not forget that this period of uncertainty will eventually end. With this in mind, it is important for companies and businesses to be prepared for the post-COVID-19 world. When the pandemic abates and containment measures are rolled back, normal economic and business activity will resume. Businesses will reopen. International trade will rebound, and there should be a significant degree of pent-up demand and investment based on consumption and investment decisions which were delayed during the pandemic. Counteracting this to some extent could be a slower recovery in sectors such as tourism, and unfortunately with the current restrictions on flights, it will be difficult, I think, to get tourist numbers back to where they were last year in the coming year. We also may have a problem with a slower return to full rate salaries and increased unemployment. From the perspective of Team Ireland in China, we have already taken the first tentative steps in re-engaging in physical offline trade and economic promotion activity. In June the 14th, 2 days before Bloomsday, there was a very successful Bloomsday event in Shanghai, one of the few offline Bloomsday events in the world. This month we have begun to deepen further our engagement, and this month we had a very strong presence at the China International Fair for Trade in Services in Beijing, where we were delighted to host a number of Irish companies operating or entering the Chinese market. Team Ireland, through the efforts of Enterprise Ireland and Education Ireland, also hosted a booth at which Irish education offerings were promoted. And indeed, I attended the commencement ceremony of the Beijing Dublin International College, a joint venture between University College Dublin and Beijing University of Technology last week. In addition, we have seen the opening of the Chang'an Dublin International College and the Guangzhou Dublin International College this month, and the Maynooth International College in Fujian is also entering its second year. We are confident that coming months will present Team Ireland with further opportunities to promote Ireland across the spectrum of sectors and areas of engagement in China. We will be working hard to shine a light on Irish products, be they educational services, food and drink, and Irish manufacturers, and we will be working as a team on your behalf. As many of you know, I am completing my posting in China as Irish Ambassador. Having spent 3 fascinating and eventful years in this country, I will leave China with a strong sense of that China will continue to grow, continue to become more and more of an influence in global economic affairs, and deepen its engagement with the international world and with other economies around the world. I believe that Ireland stands well placed to benefit from this in terms of its trade and economic relations with China, but also in the wider sense of its broader relations in China. Our close relations have grown from strength to strength for the last 41 years, and I expect that to continue for many years to come. I wish my successor, Anne Derwin, who will take up position later in the year, all success in her role. I'm sure she will greatly enjoy the role as ambassador in China. I also wish my current chargé, Deputy Head of Mission, Therese Healy, who has moved up from Shanghai, all success in managing the embassy in the interim. Unfortunately, we had a very sad event during this very eventful year when my deputy, Michael Hurley, died suddenly last May. He is deeply missed by all of us here in the embassy. It shows that you can never plan the day or the hour, and our hearts go out to Anne-Marie, James, Niamh and Cara, who have had a very difficult few months. Thank you all for listening, and I wish you all the best with your summit.